Welcome to Significance Breed Success. My name is Daniel Puder. I'm your host. Today, we have a rock star, the founder of Uscreen. PJ Taei is a rock star. I'm actually going to Washington, D.C. You're in the area. You live there. I love D.C., one of the most amazing places in the world to be. Thanks for coming on, Dave, bro.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
So you founded Uscreen, and you guys do a lot of video monetization. My background, I did MMA fighting, WWE, and I saw the whole production world. And I had a YouTube partnership account back in the day, and we got 100 million views. And we've done some really cool stuff, and I love that world. I find that this world is taking like what media back in the day, CBS and CNN and all those brands, and making every single kid, take it into their cell phone and giving the ability for people to be their own entrepreneur. How did you get in?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Media is totally shifting, especially online, right? And the way I got into this is my previous company, my first company was a web hosting company that helped all types of businesses, individuals, small businesses sell physical goods online. So e-commerce hosting. And that got me into video because some of those customers were also selling DVDs and they needed a simple way to stream the DVDs. And I wanted to build a solution for them to do that. Even though there was some digital downloads and basic on-demand services, there really wasn't a good way to do an all-in-one, one-stop shop for selling courses, membership sites, and the full platform and making it affordable.
So do you find, I find it, so when I was a kid, I grew up in Cupertino, California, and there are so many of my friends went into the tech space. I was one of the only guys that went into the sports space, which is like the opposite direction. I find that today, more and more people are getting in and selling their own products, whether they have an SD account, they create video content, they build an online business. In the next 10 to 20 years, where do you see this going? I see 50% of the people in the world selling something online, being a part of the online community, being involved. What's your thought?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right about that. The pandemic, COVID, really accelerated the adoption of technology as well as online streaming and so many things online, right? Online e-commerce, basically. So that's only going to continue for the next, you're right, decade, 2 decades. The digital revolution is here and it's being adopted and it's not going anywhere. So it's only been accelerated. So I see a lot of opportunity with more and more people engaging online content as well as doing e-commerce. You're right. I think your vision is correct. More and more will continue to do that. You're right.
So one of my students that just graduated, I own some private schools, and she came to me with this concept, and I looked it up, and other people are doing it, but she's making these bears that are like foam bears with like these foam roses, putting these, it's beautiful what she's creating. She orders all the materials and she's like, I want to sell these things. And I'm like, do you have a website? Do you have an SD account? Do you have this? Do you have that? And she's like, no. She's like, I barely have enough money. And I'm like, okay, so I'll give you $2,000. So I gave her a loan for $2,000. She's graduated my high school, right? But she showed up and she had a product. And so she's now doing a video shoot, a photography shoot on Friday with my videographer. We're going to build a website for her with my branding agency. So I love that world that I can be a part of impacting people's lives, being a leader. You being a CEO, what you do is the future. How did you get the idea to start a company? And then what kind of like skill sets did you need to have? I know you've had multiple companies, but maybe in the beginning, you had one skill set of being a leader, and today you're like, wow, I needed this whole other skill set to be able to, get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of skill sets are needed to do business. And I've learned that I actually have a lot of limitations myself, and I need to constantly learn and adapt to be able to do more. For example, like there's a saying in business that the first 1 million of annual revenue it's different for you to get to 10 million, then 10 to 20 is different. So every milestone per se of whether it's headcount or it's revenue in business really requires a different skill set. And that's definitely been true for us too. The company is 6.5 years old. It's growing. We're pushing forward. We're helping over 10,000 customers make about $10 million a month. It's about $8 million per month in revenue in digital sales. So it really is growing, and we're doing amazing things for these businesses. But a lot of my skills are constantly tested, and I have to push myself to learn more, achieve more, and hire the people that are smarter than me to be able to do those things, because I definitely lack those skills. So I know I'm good at operations and business, but I can definitely do a lot more.
So I like what you just said is I hire people that are smarter than me. Do you find today, and I still see it in business, that people have like this ego mentality on like growing their business, and it's, I wouldn't say it's challenging for them, but I would say that they're not open and willing to learn to really get to the real goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you're right about that in some ways, because I do see that hiring smarter people helps a lot. And initially, when I learned about, someone told me that actually a business advisor of mine long time ago said, hire people smarter than you. And when I learned about that, I thought to myself, why would I do that? Because they might take over the business. When I was younger, that was my initial feedback on that. But doing business is hard. So I think it's definitely, I was just naive and inexperienced to think that you have to hire people smarter than you to be able to innovate and do a lot more. It's a must, especially with the digital age. The internet moves so fast. There's no physical limitation of a lot of merchandise per se. Yes, of course, you're selling physical goods and stuff, whatever that may be. But it's just, basically what I'm saying is, even if you're doing physical e-commerce, digitally, the storefront is not there, right? You might have a warehouse for storage, but really you don't need the storefront with the sign and all those people that need to show up to the store. So that takes a lot away from that hardship of having to maintain a brick and mortar storefront. The storefront's online. Of course, that comes with its headaches, but it makes it a lot easier for people to learn how to do the same thing. So there's a lot of competition in online business, is a way to look at it.
So people come to you, you help build their companies out, right? And how do you help them see? Because there's a lot of like processes and systems that you have to be able to get to those goals, right? And I find that the human component is probably the most challenging piece versus the process and systems of how to actually build out what you're doing. I mean, how do you inspire, lead, and build those CEOs and those presidents to be able to get to that next level?
Yeah, a lot of what we do, we have a success program which teaches them how to do business, right? Online business. And it's definitely been a challenge, because you have to teach someone how to run a digital company and become a digital marketer per se. So that's definitely a challenge. The majority don't know how to do that. So that's an ongoing process for us to build and improve. It's never going to stop, but it's a really fun, challenging component of this business. And unfortunately, some people just don't succeed. They really don't. So we have the burden on our side to educate them with a significant cost, but we also have the burden of making sure the customer is someone who wants to succeed and is willing to put in the work, and obviously is willing to learn how to run a digital business. And it's not for everyone.
What's your opinion on college for the future generations when things go to digital business? People can graduate, online with high school these days. College costs $100,000, and then if you want to start a digital business company, that's going to cost you even more money to take out loans, and you're in a bunch of debt. What's your thought on, just starting while you're in high school, middle school? Like starting, I've seen it done before. Anybody can start a digital business today, anywhere they're at. have a computer, cell phone, and start putting it together. Where do you think that's going to go? College and extended learning.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point, Daniel. To be honest, like I finished half my college, so I could tell you from things that I lack from not finishing college, right? I think definitely school is an amazing thing because it forces you and teaches you to learn, right? It's a program and it's been around for a long time. So it's a good thing. It teaches you and forces you to learn. I think that's really powerful. And it also gives you a really good basement of skills. With that being said, acquiring debt while you're in school is not a good thing. It takes a long time to pay off debt. It really does. And some people have it for a very long time. And then two, definitely when you're in school, you're missing out on business opportunities, right? So it's a give and take scenario. When you're starting out really young, you even said high school, middle school, high school, 2021, early college years per se, and you're starting to do business and you start to learn the online world and you start to build those skills, that's 100% going to help you in business. When you're in college, you're not going to learn those skills, right? So it's different skills. So it's a give and take scenario. I started working when I was really young, 16, 17. I'm 40 now, so the internet wasn't really well rounded in the early 2000s when I was just getting out of college per se, or half the college, but I still got some exposure to that extent early on. What I will say about that though is the early years that I got internet or any type of business experience, those skills still carry on with me. So it's almost like what happens is you build these skills early on and they're just growing up with you. And you'll see that in this company that I'm doing business, I'm really using the same skills I learned pretty much 15, 20 years ago. It's kind of crazy. Of course, I've learned many different things, but it really kind of snowballed from that level. So school versus business, both are important. It's absolutely a trade-off. You really are kind of missing out on one versus the other in some ways.
It's really interesting you say, like you said, I think you phrased it as you're missing business opportunities while in school. And I find that so many kids are going to school, but they're not even thinking about the opportunities they could have with a part-time job or a full-time job or starting their own company, most students. And then I meet some rock stars who are starting a company. Like I have one student from Nova Southeastern University when I was teaching there that has her own hair company. She sells products online and she has a great story that goes with it. So it's interesting how many people see or follow a Gary Vee or follow a PJ or follow whoever out there to be able to learn the right tools to be able to get to the next level. Tell me a little bit about, like, if somebody comes to you, and I really want to understand this because I've had the blessings to be able to spend a lot of time with people in your space, and I really like the online side of it. Tell me what the steps are. So somebody comes to you and they want to start a company. How do they find you guys? Obviously, you're probably pretty good at on digital marketing, but you probably look for a very specific person too. That has that because you want them to succeed on this stuff. How do you do that? What are the steps?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, we do a lot of marketing, and like you said, search engine marketing, but we also have some sales, which then nurtures that lead once they come in. I want everyone to think of marketing like this. Like you'll hear a lot of people say sales or marketing. See, marketing, what it does is it educates the lead. Not only are you found, but so for example, you go to Google, you type in sell videos online, you already know what you want. One, you're vetted. You're kind of like, okay, well, I want to make money with videos. Two, you see us, you click the link, you land on a blog, you read, you're educated. Then you make contact based on the website. So the lead is very vetted and educated when it comes to marketing. So we do a lot of content marketing to answer your question, to really get customers to find us. Then once the customer makes contact, the salesperson then reaches out to them. So in this case, marketing is very important. I invite everybody to start that very early on because you want to get in front of your audience and you want to write content that educates them. Google and search engines love that. They'll rank it and then you're going to be found. And then in that case, people make contact. Also, search engine marketing, content marketing